So we are recording now. In the agenda, does everyone have it okay so that you can kind of follow along? We're going to skip down underneath the classroom code there and just talk a little bit about the authentic assessment. I think one of the struggles that is happening for everyone, all teachers, is that challenge to really know if the student is understanding what you are teaching them, if it's their work that they're submitting, their words that they're submitting, or is it something they found on the internet, or is it a friend's, and so on. And you know, when that happens in the classroom face to face, it's usually pretty easy to just have a little conversation, ask a couple questions, and you can find out pretty quickly what their depth of understanding is, even if they didn't clearly write it or they didn't express it in a way that made it obvious to you that it was their work. So Screencastify Submit is a tool that lets you hopefully get at a way to have authentic assessment even when you aren't necessarily face-to-face with those students. So what we're going to do is quickly go over the tool, and I am going to go pretty quick over that because there's a lot of videos and I've got resources at the bottom of the agenda that can really take you through the step-by-step of how it works. So we'll go through that pretty quick. Then I have a little activity for you to actually participate in as a student. And then we'll take some time at the end to try to brainstorm some ideas about how you might be able to use it in your content area, your class, for different activities. So I'm going to start sharing a little different screen here. Actually, I'll just work off this same agenda page. This will be just fine. So the tool again is Screencastify Submit. Screencastify is an app that gets added on to the Chrome browser. So you want to make sure that when you're going to use this, you are in Chrome and that you are logged in with your Anoka Hennepin account and only your Anoka Hennepin account. One of the problems that we have often for both teachers and students is that they will be logged into the Chrome browser with a private account, a private Gmail or Google account as well. And that can cause problems in pretty much all of your apps, whether it's Meet or Docs or anything else. So you want to be logged in just as you with your Anoka Hennepin account, not your private account. When you are logged in, you should see the Screencastify icon in your Chrome browser, and that's where we're going to start. So there's a couple different ways to access Submit, and I think the easiest way is to just go up in your browser and look for this icon that's kind of a red arrow pointing to the right, and inside the red arrow, as tiny as that is, that's a little video camera. And if you hover over it, you can see that it also pops up the name of that app. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and a little dialog box will open up. And these are the main tools for Screencastify. And what I think most people have been using it for, or most people are aware of, is that Screencastify lets you as the teacher create recordings, record lessons for students to access, and access at any time. You can archive them, you can make them available so the student can go back and review something that they saw live, or maybe they were gone that day and they need to go back and see it for the first time. But that's a very powerful tool, and it's probably the main use of Screencastify. Screencastify Submit is bringing the students into the tool so that they can do the recording, and they provide that recording to you. And getting to that isn't as intuitive as some of these other tools, sad to say. So if you look up here in the top left of that dialog box that opened up, I've got these 3 horizontal bars. If I click on that, there's all kinds of other things here to choose from, and I'm going to choose Submit. So that's one way to access it. The other way is to actually just go to the web page itself, and you can see I've got the link in the agenda. If you use that link, or if you do what I just did, you're going to land on the exact same spot. it's going to recognize that you're logged in with your Anoka Hennepin account, and it's going to display the assignments that you have created in the past and give you the tools to create new ones. So either way you access it, you're going to end up in the same spot. Once I get here again, I can see a list of the things that I've done already, and I can go ahead and create a new assignment. So the process is pretty straightforward. I'm going to create an assignment that the students are going to respond to with a video recording. And you'll see some options for, do I want them to record just themselves, the webcam, do I need them to record their desktop, and so on. So I'm going to click on New Assignment. These are the three options, and this is what determines what the student will actually be doing. This first one, screen and webcam recording, that's new as of October. So that's a newer feature that they added in. This would require, let's put it this way, a mobile device can't do this. So given that most of your students, I shouldn't say that, many of your students are doing their work via a phone in some cases, maybe not all the time, but some of the time. So they would have a little trouble with this screen and webcam recording. This would work on a Chromebook. So if you wanted to just set the expectation that a particular activity requires them to be on their Chromebook or their own home device, desktop, laptop, whatever, you could use this. Webcam recording only, this could be done on a mobile device. So it's probably the easiest access for them, given that they can use their phone or an iPad or whatever else. And then screen recording only. Now, all of these include audio, but if they don't have the webcam, you won't see them. Their picture won't be inset, okay? So for example, if you do screen and webcam, you'll see their desktop, whatever they want to show you, and then you'll see a little window of them down in the corner, their actual video as they explain what they're showing you. Webcam only is just the video and audio. And then screen recording only is just their desktop and their voice. You don't get to see them. So you can kind of think about what you prefer. I'm going to go with webcam recording only, and I'm going to click next. Then I go ahead and title it. And you do want to spend some time making choices here about how you're going to title it, because it does make a difference in how clear it is to the student. You can, of course, provide all kinds of instructions as well that go with it, and those will appear for the student before they start their recording. But I'm just going to put in a couple demo things here, and I'll click next. So I've set up the type of assignment, I've named it, I've given some instructions. How do I want the security handled on this in terms of their access and who can view and so on? So I'm going to say anyone with the link. The option is anyone in the organization. Well, I don't want anybody to just be able to come in here and find it and start recording and submitting. I don't want a bunch of submissions from students that aren't even in my class, obviously. So I'm going to say anyone with the link, and that's going to limit it to the people that I provide that link to. Video privacy, this one you'll have to think about a little bit. You know, do you want students to be able to view other students' submissions? Is there value in that? Is there some danger in that? So you can decide. I'm going to say in this case, students can view their own video. So if they want to look at it after the fact, they can. And then email notifications, I would suggest you would turn this off. If you have 140 students and they're all submitting, you don't want your inbox flooded with all these notices that, hey, so-and-so submitted their work. There's another place to go find that and deal with it that's a lot more efficient than dealing with emails coming in. So I've made those choices. I'm going to click next. And now comes the magic. So I've got two different ways that I can provide this activity to students. One is this link right here. So you can just maybe raise your hand or whatever. Are any of you not using Google Classroom? Okay, so if you weren't using Google Classroom, you could take this link right here and you could distribute it to your students, let's say through Synergy Communication, and assign it that way. Or if you're using Moodle, you could put it into your Moodle course. Lots of different ways to do it, but this link would get them to that assignment. If you are using Google Classroom, here's the beauty. If I click on this little icon right here, it's going to let me take this Screencastify Submit assignment and link it into my Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And it again recognizes me because I'm logged into the browser. And it's going to say, which class would you like to add this assignment to? I'll say I want to add it to my grade 12 econ class. And what do you want it to be? Well, I want it to be an assignment. So it's going to show up in my classwork tab. So I'll do that. I'll click go. And now it lets me add some other detail if I wanted. I've got the right classroom, but what if I teach 4 or 5 sections of the same thing? I can now come here and say, oh, not only this econ class, I want it for these 2 additional ones as well, or whatever additional classes. So all of your classrooms will show in this drop-down. You simply pick the ones that you want to load that activity into as an assignment. So I'll just stick with the one. I want it to apply to all students. I could go ahead and pick and choose. I can see that some of you have successfully made it into the classroom, so that's great. I'm just going to assign it to all students. I can add those instructions again here, but they will pass through because they're attached already to the Screencastify assignment. So you'll kind of see that happen. Materials, that's already there. If I want to change the points, I can do that. Let's just say this is only going to be worth 30. And due date, let's make this due tomorrow. And we can even do a time if you want. Topic, I want to make sure this divides up correctly in my Google Classroom. So what I've been doing is I've been creating a topic for each day. So I'm going to call this one Tuesday, December 15th. And so I'm making a new topic. I'm going to add this assignment to it. And now I can go ahead and click assign. So it's going to load that into my Google Classroom. And since I've got it loaded on another tab, let me just go into my Google Classroom and you'll see how this plays out. So here's my start screen or my home page or my stream page of my Google Classroom. If I go to classwork, let's shrink that up, see how long it might take to get here. Actually, it was there. I just was impatient. So here's December 15th, right? This is the one we just created right here. So you can see that for the student, they would simply come in, click on the assignment. They would click on the Screencastify. And their assignment opens up. It tells them what the assignment title is, what they're going to do, and then it's going to have them record. Okay, so it's that straightforward. So just for a little practice for you to take on the role of the student and see how all this works, what I want you to do is go to the Google Classroom page, and I saw many of you had joined, if not all of you. So if you haven't gotten there, I will paste in that classroom link again in the chat. In case you came in later and that wasn't showing for you when you came in. If you just join the class, you should be able to go to classwork. And then I'd like you to go ahead down to Monday, December 14th. And the assignment is going to be, when should I give it my all? So if you click on that, you'll see kind of a long explanation here or instructions for completing the assignment. You can see it's assigned to 6 people. 1 person already turned it in. That was a demo student that I was playing with. And then you have a link out to the activity. So if you read through this and you're not real current on your economics, you've kind of forgotten that class or tried to forget it from college, you can just, instead of talking about these economic concepts, when you create your video, how about if you tell me about the favorite Christmas present you have ever received. Okay, so that'll be the topic of your recording. So you're going to go ahead and click on that Screencastify link. You're going to create your recording, and then you're going to be very careful at one point. If you look on the agenda, this is something you would want to highlight with your students as well. When your students go through the process, they will get to a point where they let me make sure I've got this right. Oh, okay. So they make the recording. They have one option to start over. So if they don't like the first take, they can do another take. After that, when they click submit, they're not quite done. Submit will post their video to Screencastify. I'll be able to show you the difference better after we're done. The next screen that comes up is an option to share the video to Classroom. You want to make sure that you click on that share the video to Classroom. That's what will load it into my Google Classroom site. So after you get done recording and you hit submit, make sure you pay attention to the next screen that comes up that says share video to Classroom. Okay, so I'm going to suggest we all turn the volume down on our computers so that when you're recording in Screencastify, we don't all hear each other in terms of your microphone picking up somebody else's voices. So just turn your speakers down, and I think this will work okay. Hopefully you won't be getting feedback or anything. And I'll give you maybe 3 minutes or so to just make your recording, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like from the teacher end in both Screencastify and Google Classroom. All right, go for it. All right, so hopefully everybody had a chance to go through that process and see how easy it really is for students, and hopefully enjoyable for students. It might be a little bit fun for some, could be a little intimidating for others, I guess. But if you kind of reassure some of them that you're the only one that's going to look at it, hopefully they can get a little bit comfortable with themselves on video. So it certainly comes in handy in a lot of situations. My example that I used was from my days as an econ teacher at Blaine High School, actually. And there were things that it was really, that away, Pete. It was hard for the kids to understand or express very easily in their own words. And, the fallback is always to just then go to some dictionary definition or something they find on the internet. And it's hard to really get them to put it into their own words, put it into their own experiences so that you really can see that they understand what you're talking about. And Pete, I'll use you for an example. My guess is you have art assignments where you want the kids to reflect on what their work is. And maybe it's based on a rubric where I want you to talk about the theme. I want you to talk about the whatever. This would be a way where they could actually have that item in their hands and be showing it and talking about it as a part of their work submission. So hopefully you can think of lots of ways of using it. In the last minute or two that we have, what I'd like you to do is almost at the bottom of the agenda, there's a link that says brainstorm class uses. And if you would just take a quick look at that and maybe make an entry, if you can think of some way that you could use this in your class, and then I'll hand off rights to this to Kevin and Daryl, and it'll get built on over time. I'll just kind of keep this running with any groups that I do this session with. So it might end up having things from other high schools, other middle schools, and so on. And then finally, at the very bottom of the agenda, you've got links to a lot of different support resources there. So if you need a little bit more time figuring out how I set up the assignment, all of that's covered in the Screencastify support. There's also some ideas for assessment, formative assessment that you can see there. So if you can make an entry in that Screencastify Submit spreadsheet, and that'll be it. So thanks for attending, and I hope you have a good, I guess, final session for the day, for the morning coming up. Thanks, everyone.